This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this, say hello to my little super light crazy friend. Even a wuss like me can toss this about. This is the Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Carbon Gen 9, the 2021 model. So it's 2.5 pounds, which is 1.13 kilograms. I mean, you don't even need to think about the LG gram, do you, when it's already, well, not much over a kilogram. 14-inch laptop now with a 16:10 aspect ratio display, and despite the fact it is so thin and light, it's 14.9 millimeters, it has normal legacy ports on it, as they're now calling HDMI, USB-A. You know, there's a reason why people have been loving the Carbon for a while. We're going to look at it now. So, you know, it's up to Gen 9. You might think for a reviewer like me, it gets a little boring the 9th time around. Well, we did miss 1 or 2 generations, but Lenovo sent us this unit, and kind of late, granted that, but also because we're going to be giving this one away, one of you lucky people. Giveaway will happen separately from this video, so stay tuned for that. But anyway, it's still worth covering because we haven't done the most recent generation lately. And it's still a delightful laptop. Skip to the end. Yes, go. If you like this thing, go buy it, is the takeaway here. But we're going to talk about why, so you make sure you make the right decision. First off, I'm happy to see that 16:10 aspect ratio display, which Lenovo has been doing more and more with ThinkPad models. We have the full HD Plus display, and actually it's really very nice with high contrast, and it's a matte non-touch display, so it's 1920 by 1200 resolution, thanks to the higher dimension for that aspect ratio. But you can also get it with the touchscreen if you want in a variety of resolutions. For those of you who really want to go crazy, in fact, there is even a 4K plus one with 500 nits. So this one here that we have is rated at 400 nits. Whether you get it in touch or non-touch, it's pretty much the same panel, just with the touch layer added. And it measures a bit above that. It seems quite bright. It's nicely done. There's also a privacy guard panel option, the one, you know, with the limited side viewing angles for those of you who are doing top secret work. And that one is 500 nits nominally, because privacy screens have to be a little bit brighter. Anyway, nicely done there. We have Intel 11th Gen CPUs. You got the Core i5, the Core i7, and the usual that you would expect to see here. And also, you have anywhere from 8 to 32 gigs of RAM, 8, 16, or 32 gigs of DDR4, 4266 megahertz RAM. That is dual channel, that is soldered, so get it with the amount you think you'll need. It is hinged to the processor, as Lenovo likes to do. If you want 32 gigs of RAM, which might be a little overkill for the average Ultrabook user, then you have to go with the Core i7. And you can get the Core i5 and Core i7 with or without vPro. That's up to you. You know, if you need vPro, or if you're the IT buyer for your company, you might be buying vPro. For graphics, we have Intel Iris Xe integrated graphics, no surprise there. It's a very capable laptop, folks. For those of you who aren't doing heavy workstation level 3D renders or video editing professionally and all that sort of thing, for most people, it's more than performant enough. We have 2 fans inside. We're going to take a look at the internals now so you see how all that works. And here is the gateway to the internals. Just a couple of Phillips head screws, unscrew them. And by the way, you can see the 2 woofer grills are here. This is the air intake for the 2 little fans and the air exhausts out the rear over here. And notice the new hinge design. Now they have a monolithic bar design. Functionally, I bet that these 2 areas are still the hinges, but the antennas are now housed in here, which is nice and tidy. And it means if you grab the top of your display, you won't mess with, well, the reception. So, dual fan cooling over here, our heat sink for the CPU and the M.2 SSD. Of course, this platform supports NVMe SSDs, PCIe 3 and 4. Ours happens to be a 3. You could put in a 4 if you wanted to. Lenovo's options right now on that are a little bit slim for the PCIe 4, but in an Ultrabook, you know, it's up to you how fast you need it. We have a slot here, which would be for the 4G or 5G card if you decide to go with that option. And Wi-Fi is soldered on right here. Intel AX201 Wi-Fi 6 card, so that's a perfectly fine card, which is a good thing because you won't be upgrading it, given the fact that it is soldered on board. So that's the internals, the usual design with the big battery over here, and the woofer is now exposed. You can see them there. Pretty good size for a little laptop. For ports on this, we have 2 USB-A 3.2 Gen 1 ports, 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports, yay that, so Thunderbolt docks, USB-C docks, you got the idea there. One of them will be used for charging. And we have an HDMI 2.0 port, a headphone jack. And if you opt for the optional 4G or 5G, two different modems, 4G and 5G modem options, Qualcomm Snapdragon X55 for 5G and a different brand for the 4G. So then you get a nano SIM card slot. There is no SD or micro SD card slot here. That would be one of the small dings on this one. For speakers, we actually have quad speakers. We have two tweeters and two down-firing woofers. So for a super thin and light business laptop, that's pretty impressive. And the sound is quite nice. It's actually pleasant to watch movies on this thing. Keyboard is your usual excellent ThinkPad keyboard, MIL STD, spill resistant, all that sort of thing. But, you know, it's very thin, so the travel isn't going to be ThinkPad workstation level deep, but the tactility is very nice. The crispness, the feel, the concave smile-shaped keys, all those things, you know, that you love about ThinkPad keyboard is still one of the best out there for typists. And the trackpad is their usual quite competent trackpad. It's fairly large. You have the eraser stick pointer for those who prefer the nav point to a trackpad. It works just fine. So that's sounding pretty good, and heat and noise are well managed. It does help that we have two fans, and after all, it is a quad-core Ultrabook. It's not a mobile workstation or something like that. Well done, doesn't get burning hot to the touch, all that sort of thing. What about battery life? We have a pretty big battery in here, especially for something of this size. It's 57 watt-hour battery. It comes with a 65 watt fast charger, so it can charge 80% in 1 hour. Battery life on this is quite good. Now we have the full HD plus display. If you go for that 4K display, I expect it will shave a couple of hours off of battery run times, but not even trying hard to manage battery life with brightness set at 200 nits, doing a mix of productivity work, you know, like Office, Slack, that sort of thing. A little bit of Photoshop, streaming video, that sort of thing. 9 hours, no problem. If you watch your battery settings a little bit more carefully and you're doing light work, I wouldn't be surprised if you even hit 10 with this. So all day on a charge, that's pretty good too. So that's the Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Carbon Gen 9, as ever, iconic black, super slim and light business laptop. MIL STD rugged. By the way, if you opt for the 4K plus display, you'll get a carbon fiber weave top instead of the otherwise painted matte black carbon finish. But it's good looking in that ThinkPad sort of way. I leave it up to you. Obviously, it's very different from the aesthetic of something like the Dell XPS 13 or a MacBook. But for those who like the ThinkPad look, it's good. And in terms of the power and the portability and the build quality and the keyboard and some pretty decent display options, I mean, it's hard not to recommend this. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos and hit the notification bell so you know about them.